chilly outside today, man. But from the title down low, today I'm coming with y'all with a haircut video. We have a high taper. High tapers are one of my favorite haircuts. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of my favorite haircuts to do. It's just something about high tapers. It just pop. So I'm about to head to the shop and we about to get busy with the clippers. You feel me? Cause y'all know, well, I'm getting crispy. I'm getting more crispy as I go on, but we have a high taper tutorial today, y'all. And I hope y'all like the video. And if y'all do, I need to like, comment, and subscribe down low. But like always said, we about to get into it. So I'm gonna see when I get to the shop. Alright, YouTube, got my cuz here today, man. Like I said before, I'm not sure how to do my high tapers. So we about to get started.
Alright, so the first thing we're about to get this high taper all started over, we're about to use our trimmers. And when you use your trimmers, you don't want to press too hard because then you're going to make a harsh line. It's going to be hard to get out. So use one slightly, make that line, making everything nice and clean. So now we're going to grab our one guard and we're just going to clean our area up before we start the taper, making sure all the hair is the same length and even. And always want to keep your brush on you too. You always want to brush the hairs down after you get done cutting. That's very important. Alright, so for our next step, we're grabbing our masters with no guard open, and we're going about an inch, and we're just going to stay consistent. Remember, cutting hair is all about symmetry and consistency and details. So we're just going about an inch, making sure everything is nice and clean. And as I don't know if you could tell, but I'm closing the leather. I'm going up and down. I'm going open, halfway, then close. But I'm not going above that line. I'm using my corners just to tack. Alright, so now we're going to grab our trimmers and we're going to work on taking that ball line out. As you see, I'm just using my corners. I'm not really doing nothing crazy. I'm just tapping it, making sure I'm getting that line out. Alright, so now we're going to grab that zero guard and we're just going up about an inch, attacking that line. We just want to soften it up and making sure we blend it in using your corners. This is one of my favorite things about doing tapers is the detailing. And I like to do my detailing best with my masters. So I'm just going to take my masters, use my corners, play with the leather, go up and down, making sure I'm just getting any dark spots out or any lines out. And this is how you get your taper to really pop, because everybody likes that blurry look. Like that blurry look just make everything pop more. So the more detail you can get on a taper, the better your taper will be. Alright, so now we're going to grab our one guard and we're going to close it, and we're just going to try to attack that line and get that line out. Mind you, always want to flick your wrist out and use your corners. So now we're going to take our half guard open and we're just going to attack that line out between the half and the one. And you just want to make sure you're just tapping it lightly, not raising it higher than what it needs to be raised, because sometimes it can tend to happen sometimes when you're so focused on trying to get a line out, you can raise the fade or the taper, and that's not what we're looking for. So you want to keep control and make sure you're just flicking out and using your corners. Alright, so now it's time for some beard action, y'all. So we're going to take our masters open and we're just going to go up an inch. Fading the beard is like doing a fade. You're just working your way up instead of working your way down. Or is it? I don't know. Alright, it's one of these ways, y'all. But as you see, I'm just opening and closing the leather. Not something special, but we're just going to grab that half guard and we're just going to fade it into the no guard. So we're fading up. And then I'm grabbing the one guard. I'm just going to fade that in. When you fade in the beard, you want to be very careful though, because you could really mess the beard up and it'll throw it off. Alright, so with shaping up the back of the beard, you want to be very careful, y'all. So I always like to brush the hairs back to get all them free hairs that's just flowing everywhere, just to make sure the beard is crispy and we get on them dead hairs off. So when you're shaping up the beard, make sure to follow the jawline, but be very careful. You don't want to push nobody's beard in more than what it needs to be in. When shaping up the beard with the straight razor, it's the most important part of the cut, because this is what's going to make the whole cut pop out, this and the hairline. So one thing I have my clients do is blow their cheek out, because it gives me a solid base and it gives me a guide to how their beard is supposed to be coming in equivalent to their face. So as you see, I'm just really lightly pulling the skin and just going up with this straight razor, making sure I'm knocking off them little baby hairs and making sure everything is nice and crispy. Now to move on to the most important thing about a haircut is their hairline. If the hairline ain't even, they leaving, Steven. So here I'm just brushing all the hairs down, making sure it's ready for when I cut the hairs down low. I'm not cutting too low, just low enough to give it that double hairline look. Alright, so now we're going to spray a little bit of the Gotta Be glue. I like doing this because it helps the hair stay down, and we're just going to blow dry. When you put your blow dryer on, make sure it's cool. You don't want your blow dryer hot because it's going to make your client start sweating. You want to keep them pores locked. So it's very important to make sure you always start your shape ups in the middle and either work your way to the left or work your way to the right. But the main important thing about doing shape ups is always making sure your corners are sharp. Make sure you got that 90-degree box corner, because this is what's gonna make your hairline pop and make it look straight. But you always want to take your time also. Don't rush the hairline. To get that crispy line up with the straight razor, you want to just stretch the skin out and just be real gentle and smooth with it, because you can cut somebody real easy and that's not what we want. So as you see, I'm just pulling the skin and just slightly going over the line, but I'm not going too far because you don't want to push the line back. So you just want to go just about up to the line, making sure everything is nice and crispy when you're pulling the skin. Now to start our back taper. So first, we're just going to brush the hairs down, and we're going to take our trimmers, and we're just going to make our first guideline. Remember, when you do this guideline, make sure not to press too hard, because then you're going to need that hard ball line in the back of the head, and nobody wants that because it's hard to get out. For our next set, we're taking our masters open, and we're just going up about 1 inch. And remember, stay consistent. Consistency is key. And just brush the hairs down and make sure you're going even to the first guideline we made. So now it's time to work on getting that ball line out and beginning to taper. So I'm going halfway close with the lever, and I'm just using my corners, making sure I'm getting any dark spots I see. Now it's time to take our half guard and close it and go up just about 1 inch, and just using a flick out motion, and make sure you're using your corners. Alright, so now it's time to grab our masters with no guard open, and we're just going to fade that line in. We're going to make sure we're using our corners, getting every little dark spots we see, working on getting that line out. Now we're going to take our one guard close, and we're going to get that last little bit of the fade that's up by the hair. But you want to be real careful because you don't want to chip none of his long hairs. So you just want to go on the flick out motion using your corners. That's the best way to attack it when it gets that high up to the long hairs. So when shaping up the back of the neck, you want to make sure you're going with the natural line. Because I've seen a lot of barbers be pushing the back of the hairline up, and when it grows back, it looks crazy. So we just want to keep it as natural as possible, but make sure it's crispy at the same time. And you want to be real delicate, because sometimes in the back of the neck, at the bottom, it's more sensitive and softer than the rest of the head, and it's easy to cut somebody.
Alright, y'all, this is the finished product. This is the finished product, y'all. Yes, sir, look at that. It is, come on. Round of applause. Thank you. But, if y'all like this video, I need y'all to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And we out, y'all. We out. Till next time. Willie, you want to say something to the camera?
Peace out. This nigga a bean for real. Shout out Cuz.
I appreciate it. Alright, y'all, we out here.